Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Yes, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. Today is May 30th. It's Friday. Bucks had a day off yesterday. Tonight starts a tough series in San Diego. Do they have what it takes to get another series win? Starting on Friday. You guys made it to the end of the week. Good job. It was like that. Anyway, it's Friday. With a day off, I've been wanting to do this quite a few times to actually start talking about some of the minor league players. And that's something that we don't talk a lot about on this show. So we want to, I want to talk a little bit about it today. You really can't do it too much earlier than this, right? But this is our last Friday of May. We're turning a page here. We're about, I think for most players, right around 40 games played at this point, and you're starting to get a feel for some of the guys. Now, I want to point out some guys that in particular, I'm thinking, there might be other guys that are doing well, other guys that are here or there, and I'll try to bring up some names you might know as well. But for the most part, I'm going to start off with some guys that I think maybe could be on the move a little bit. And it's aggressive. So just hear me out. We'll start off with probably the most talked about minor league bat. These are all going to be hitters. We're not going to talk pitching today because we always talk minor league pitching. And there's a lot of good there. But we don't always talk minor league hitters because we feel like there's just none of them. Well, let's talk about a few of them. Let's start off with Konnor Griffin, who's playing the lion's share of his games at shortstop, which I was concerned that they were going to leave him out in center field. He's played some center field, but it has mostly been shortstop. Very good sign there. Just turned 19 in April. And listen to these numbers. 42 games. He's slashing 310, 361, 511. 8 home runs, 9 doubles, 9 walks. He does have 49 strikeouts, but 21 stolen bases. 8 home runs, 21 stolen bases. He's hitting 354 in May, and it seems like every night there's a 110-mile-per-hour rocket off his bat that shows up on Twitter or if you're watching the games. He's been very exciting. He seems he seems bigger than 19. Seemed like he's ready to make that move already. And I know there's been people saying, move him. You can be aggressive with a guy like this, a first round pick, big body. Like he's not a kid, even though he's only 19. So I think there's a chance that you could see him move at some point soon. He's got to be the one. Of all these guys, he's got to be the one that you make a move with. And sometimes there are situations that I'll get to next that says, well, if he makes a move, is there another move you can make? So we're going to talk about that too. But first, Axial Plaz or Plaz, I guess. I'm sure there's some that'll correct me there. Also 19 years old. He'll turn 20, I think, in August. 4th in minor league baseball with 50 balls hit at 100 miles per hour or higher. And just to put that in comparison, Konnor Griffin has 44. And so he's not far down that list when I looked it up. And everybody above him, I believe, are Anthony Roman, which seems like that could be right. Roman Anthony, who's MLB number 1 prospect, Boston number 1 prospect, 61. Alex Freeland for the Dodgers, who's their number 4, and he's on the top 100, number 48. And Jonathan Long, who's the Cubs number 13. prospect. And then it's Axial Plus, who's Pirates' 28th ranked prospect, but putting up some pretty good numbers. Now, I should say too, not all minor league stadiums are tracking this. So there's to be some, there might be some other guys out there that maybe are playing where they're not being tracked. 41 games, 287, 363, 473. He's got 7 doubles, 7 homers, 14 walks, and just 29 strikeouts. 6 of those 7 homers have been in May. This is a guy that could. I don't know how he's doing behind the plate. There are places we could go to find more information about stuff like that, but the guy's killing the ball. 19, 20 years old. You could see him move up to Greensboro and see how he responds to that. You can continue to work on the catching. We're talking about low A to high A. So now let's talk about Greensboro. We understand that Greensboro is notorious for being a hitter's park. And so there's a couple guys. Actually, there's 3 guys on here, which is why you're going to get 3 guys. And I didn't look at the catching situation there. Maybe that's not important right now. Greensboro has Omar Alfonso, who's doing good, a 403 on base in 42 games, hitting 250 with 4 homers and 6 doubles. But there's, Justin Mickness is maybe that. He's hitting 083. Giovanni Blanchard hitting 094. So there's a spot for a catcher to come up. There's a spot. Anyway, the first guy that we have to say is the minor league leading home run hitter. I believe still first base, corner, outfield, Esmeralyn Valdez. He's 21, 46 games, slashing 297, 372, 611. That's not a 983 OPS. 37 RBIs, 15 homers, 10 doubles, 19 walks. He does have 51 strikeouts. In April, he slashed 338, 418, 625 with 6 homers and 18 RBIs. In May, the average is down, but he's 247, 320, 559, and he has 8 home runs. So his home runs have gone up a little bit. So he's still consistently producing and driving in runs. He's not being moved around by Konnor Griffin or Plaz. And so you could say this kid could stick around a little bit more in Greensboro, mostly because of the strikeouts. So maybe, but the power could be a product of Greensboro. Those are legit numbers either way. I mean, we're talking 15 home runs. So I don't think you're going to go quite there, but it has been impressive nightly watching highlights of him hitting home runs. And I don't know, maybe a move would be coming soon, but you also could see him maybe stick around for a while. The second one is actually maybe because of Konnor Griffin, but shortstop Javier Rivas is 22. He's a 6'6" shortstop. And he's played 27 games at short and 7 games at third. 42 games, slashing 308, 366, 535. 9 homers, 32 RBIs. 7 doubles, 11 walks, 38 strikeouts. If Griffin moved up, you could see them moving a guy like this to see how he reacts to going up to Double-A. He is 22, so you could see how he responds to that. Jack Brannigan right now is playing a lot of shortstop, but this kid could play some shortstop. He could play some third, and maybe even just DH him a little bit. I mean, Altuna's got some flex that they could do. So maybe even Jack Brannigan, who's a little bit on the older side, could even move up to AAA and see how he responds to that. Not that he's killing the ball, but at some point when you get a certain age, it's just time. And I could see him doing that. But Javier Rivas could be a guy that maybe responds well to that promotion. Maybe. The last one I'll talk about, Michael Escato, also 22 years old. He came over in the Jameson Taillon trade back in 21 from the Yankees, and he's the only one left. You had CSN in that deal. You had Roansy Contreras and Miguel Yajure in that trade. And Escato's the only one left. He was the young 18-year-old at that time or whatever it was that was coming over in the trade. There's some things to like about the player, but right now it's really kind of a breakout for him, and he's still 22 and in high A, and maybe there's a chance you push him a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, he doesn't have to, but it's a chance. First base mostly, I think, but plays a little bit of infield, corner infield. Actually, let me take a look real quick while I have it here, because it's worth looking at where he's been on the field this year to see how that lines up. So he's DH'd 8 times, left field once, shortstop twice, third base 8 times, 9 times at second, 11 times at first. He's essentially infielder. That one game, 7 innings in left field. Maybe that's something. He's played 4 games in left field. He's mostly played shortstop, but he has been moved a little bit off of shortstop. I guess it's close still. But last year it was more third base than it was shortstop and first base. So moving to the corners a little bit, maybe trying to foster some of the power. I don't know. 38 games, 319, 370 on base, 525, 9 doubles, 6 homers, 34 strikeouts. Again, that's less than games played. So for some of these guys, it's been more. 18 stolen bases for Escato. He just hit 2 homers on the 28th. I'm not sure about the home runs, though, because I think only one of them have been on the road. The other 5 in Greensboro. So that's something there. But a 370 on base is not something to ignore, especially when you have 18 stolen bases. So I think that's something to watch for. And he's versatile around the infield. And I think, that could be somebody at 22 years old that you could move up to Altoona. So then we'll go to Altoona. There's really only one guy, but this is where I say I have to bring up Termarr Johnson because he's the guy that you want to hear about. He's not doing bad. I just don't think it's promotion time yet. He's walking a lot. On base percentage is .357. He's slugging, but he's still 20 years old. He could use more time. I think AA is a really important level in the minor leagues. AAA is kind of a mixed bag with a lot of maybe like players just trying to get back to the majors. So you got some older players. You've also got a lot of experienced players there. And at 20 years old, I think that spending some extra time in AA and getting some time there, which they say is going to be mostly with, they used to say, if you want to know how a guy's going to hit in the major leagues, go back and look at his AA numbers. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I don't know if it's still the same as it used to be, but you could look back at a guy and look what he did in AA and then say, yeah, this is what he's doing in the majors, at least close to. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's the same as it used to be, especially with less levels of minor league. Maybe there's some more guys getting pushed up there earlier, but I don't know. But either way, no reason to rush Termarr Johnson at 20 years old right now. That's a good place for him to be. 3 years older is a guy that is starting to become a little bit interesting. I'll stay a little bit, but we'll see. Mitch Jebb, center field, second base, and there's just a lot of people talking about him. I've had a couple people ask me about him, and it's one of those guys that I'm kind of like, man, I think I just said it to somebody this week. I said, I'll just wait to see what I see. But because of the fact that I got people talking to me about it, I'm going to bring him up. 44 games, 306, 401 on base, 363. This is a guy that hasn't hit a home run yet. And he's still got a 401 on base. They're not pitching around this guy. He's got 2 triples. He's got 5 doubles, 25 walks, 25 strikeouts in 44 games. And he swiped 16 bags. He's not going to slug a lot. And because of that, he's going to rely on the old kind of hit it where they ain't. his 360 batting average on balls in play kind of shows that a little bit. And it's maybe a little high that this average could come down. But for those guys that aren't trying to hit the ball super hard all the time and they're trying to place it, you can naturally have a little bit of a higher batting average on balls in play doing that. Same as a guy who hits the ball very hard tends to find more spots and can elevate his BABIP that way. So it's a little bit of a similar situation, but completely opposite, if you might say. So Mitch Jebb is a guy that is 23 years old, and he can play center field. He can play second base. Maybe this is a guy that you move. Probably, if you want to think about what Mitch Jebb could be, it's probably the guy that you think Ji-hwan Bae should be. Even though Bae will hit for a little bit of power, Bae will do some other things. Mitch Jebb's more the guy that you thought that Bae would be. I don't know. We'll see. Nobody really in AAA right now. It's kind of not even worth talking about it. We want to get into the Padres series. Nick York is starting to hit better. 309, 333, 407 in May. That's good. I think he's still striking out. I think it's probably a situation where when Gonzalez comes back and you have another option at second base behind shortstop, then I think maybe you could bring him up in place of Triolo and let Triolo figure it out in AAA for a little bit. I don't know. Either way, there are more exciting hitters than we think in this organization. There's just not any of those. I mean, outside of Konnor Griffin, there's the hype is all pitching in this minor league system. It's not a ton of bats, and that's obviously part of the frustration of a lot of fans, and it makes sense. But there are a few guys. They're just, like I said, they're just mostly role players. They're still gonna have to figure out how to get. If Konnor Griffin can turn into it, that he's the exception to this, but and maybe even Termar, even Termar though, I think he's gonna come in and mostly be like, he's not a 3-4 hitter. He's mostly gonna be a supporting player, a good player. I think he can be. I think the bat's gonna play, but I don't know. Not a lot in this system, but there are some bats, and there are some bats that could still improve. So let's talk about the weekend series before we get out of here. It is Friday, and they do play San Diego tonight in San Diego to close the month of May. Early in May, we faced San Diego, and they swept us at home. So maybe we have better pitching matchups. In that series, we had Keller, Falter, Heaney lined up. That's the same three pitchers we have lined up this time. They are one off. They threw Cease, Vasquez, and Steven Kolek. This time we face them, it'll be Nick Pivetta and then Cease, Vasquez. So Keller versus Pivetta tonight, Falter, Cease tomorrow night, Heaney, Vasquez Sunday afternoon. They'll have Jackson Merrill in the lineup this weekend. The Pirates have been playing better, but this one kind of has a 2-1 series loss written all over it. That's just what to expect on the road against a good team. Padres are 31-23. They're only 2 games behind the Dodgers. They're 18-9 at home this year. So, like I said, you hope to take one. If you win a series, then this team is truly playing really well right now. And I think there's no way around that. The last 3 series, like we talked about it, it was a split in the middle with 2 series wins against teams that are hovering around 500, which is where the Pirates should be. I'm going to sound like a broken record there, but that's what it is. This team is better than them. A couple 9:40 games tonight and Saturday, and then Sunday's game doesn't start till 5 p.m. So we'll have all of it on Sunday. Thanks again for listening. Head over to YouTube on Sunday night. Join me and Jake for the live show. It's a lot of fun. We like interacting with the chat on Sunday nights. Please come hang out and subscribe while you're there. We need to get those subscribers on YouTube up. So let's do that. Have a great Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Can't believe it's almost June.
Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Thanks for listening, guys. As always, let's go Bucks.
Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Subscribing to your platform of choice is the best way to be notified for new episodes. And now, new episodes every weekday. Remember, live shows with my dad and Uncle Jake are Sundays at 9 p.m. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join them in the live chat every Sunday. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2 Buctober. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucks.
Friday